This is Pretty Much Pop, a culture podcast deconsecrated. Today we're discussing the John Wick series that began in 2014 in light of the latest installment, Ballerina. My name is Mark Linsenmeyer, and I don't know what ladies with tattoos are doing with my file behind the scenes.
I'm Al Baker, and if you want to be a gangster, there's only one rule you need to follow. That rule is that there are only two rules you need to follow. The second rule is that there are only three rules you need to follow, but the last one is really important, but I'm not going to tell you until later.
I'm Sarahlyn, and the thing that was hardest to believe in the John Wick universe is that there are hotels out there where murders don't happen.
That's kind of dark. I don't know if I like it. This is Lawrence Ware coming to you from Oklahoma City, and you won't believe what I can do with a pencil.
And our special guest.
I'm Brian Casey, and I've got a Commodore 64 in my basement, so maybe I should go behind the scenes.
Yes, Brian, brother of Dylan, brother of Josh, has appeared on at least two or three 3PL/PMP recordings over the years. And we saw this movie together, and I thought I should just get you involved. So there you go. Lawrence reached out to us just like 2 days ago saying, maybe we shouldn't do this because Ballerina is such a non-entity. Nobody's discussing it. It's not selling well. Partly from seeing, well, it was too late to make this decision, but I think it's the franchise as a whole. I wasn't aware until Sarah made me aware of just that in this last May, this Wick Is Pain documentary came out. So just seeing that and seeing like what the series is actually all about, that it's like these stunt guys that were second unit directors on The Matrix and other things that finally got to make, the Keanu lent his star power to say, why don't you guys just make them the directors? And that it's just entirely based on them wanting to construct cool stunts. So it's exactly what we were describing, the next Mission Impossible, the next thing that's going to involve those guys, Tom Cruise and that director. That's already been done. This is John Wick, like very little dialogue, but very stylized and just based on fight choreography. And of course this, unlike the Mission Impossible series, is really centered around their martial arts background.
I'd never seen any John Wick movie before doing this podcast. So it was a real treat for me, especially coming directly after watching all the Mission Impossible movies, where the main complaint was that there was just nothing by way of character, nothing by way of story. But, you put up with it because there's great action. And John Wick immediately comes along and shows you, oh, no, you can have, in fact, everything. And there are ways to make a completely excellent action movie with a load of fantastic story and character elements in it. So I had an absolute blast watching all these movies, except Ballerina, because I didn't do my homework properly. So I'm glad that it's not turned out to be very important.
That is not that you didn't enjoy Ballerina, but that you actually didn't see it and
didn't see it.
He didn't watch it at all. He's a bad podcaster.
We had the option of putting this recording off, and I said, it doesn't matter. We have 4 people that have seen it on here. I don't think it's going to dominate the conversation.
I had not seen any of the John Wick movies either.
Wait. Who am I podcasting with? 2 of you guys have not seen John Wick films? Seriously?
It was the dead dog thing really put me off. I was like, I don't think I can stomach
one.
that.
That's only okay. I'm sorry.
I understand.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
I understand.
It's the
Go
foundation of the whole series.
Go for it.
It is.
It is not.
And they
It is not.
And
Okay,
they talk
ahead,
about this in Wick Is Pain, about how that's going to turn off. And I was one of those people. I was like, nope, I don't need to see that. I don't need to see kids in peril or animals in peril. That is just, it's not for me. I think I was just Old Yeller, absolutely just wrecked me for life. And I couldn't do it. I had talked to Josh. My husband, Josh, loves these films. And so he has seen all of them without me. And so finally I was like, you know what? I'll just do it. We're doing the podcast. I'll watch all 4 of these. I watched Ballerina in the theater. I even watched part of the first episode of the TV show, which is not great.
That TV show was bad.
Oh God, it's a stinker. Yeah. But anyway, I really, really enjoyed it. So once you get past the dog part, which is just the very beginning, it sets up the whole storyline for the first film. I really had a blast watching all 4 of these John Wick movies. And I actually really enjoyed Ballerina too. I had a great time seeing this story up on the big screen. Yeah. So thank you for making me watch this, even though Lawrence is shitting on me for not wanting to.
I'm not shitting on
you. You are absolutely shitting on me for not wanting to.
That's some Diddy shit. I wouldn't do that. Okay. That might not age well. Okay.
No.
All right. Look, this is my shit. Okay. I mean, like, I really like John Wick a great deal. I completely object to Al's characterization of this being great characters. This is not that. I mean, it really isn't. I mean, the mythos of the Continental and all that kind of stuff is cool. I've seen John Wick 1, 2, 3, 4, and Ballerina on the big screen. I think I've seen each of those movies maybe 2 to 3 times in the movie theater. I'm a big John Wick fan. I really like it. But I don't go for the deep characterization. The reason why I bristled at Sarah talking about the dead dog is like, do we even see the dead dog? I mean, it's like, it's an idea.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
It's very upsetting, Lawrence. It's very upsetting.
I'm sorry, but I thought that you were a cat lover. I didn't think the dogs would bother you. But anyway, but the point nevertheless, though, is that like, I don't even remember the dog. And I don't think you need to know anything about the dog. Really, like, you need to know it happened. But that's not the point of these films. The point of these films is, crazy action spectacle that is on the level that I really enjoy. I think Mission Impossible goes a little bit too big for me to be really, really enjoying it every single time. But this like gung fu thing that they're doing, I loved it. I just love those things. And so I saw the first John Wick film and I thought that was good. But the second John Wick film is really took off. And I've been in on that since then. Now, is it great characters? No. I do think the ethos is interesting. It's kind of weird that there's like really tattooed ladies running a phone operation in the era of cell phones. I think this is the era of cell phones.
We'll get into all the
typewriters.
So I'm just saying that like that's not what I go to the film for. I don't go to the film for it to make sense. This is not supposed to be a great film. It's not supposed to be Godfather 2, Citizen Kane. Like, it's supposed to be action spectacle. It gives you action spectacle. I love the films. Full stop. They're fun. But is there more there? I don't know, but Brian might be able to tell us.
So I saw the first John Wick in the theater blind.
Oh, you just hadn't seen it. You didn't know where you were going. You could see. You just, okay. I thought you like had, okay. I'm sorry. I was shocked.
I like them all. And I saw the very first movie, not knowing there was a dog in it, let alone that the dog was going to be killed.
Ooh.
And I had a similar reaction to Keanu's other vehicle from 15 years ago, which I went into The Matrix, not knowing anything about it. And I came out of The Matrix going, wow, that was amazing and new and surprising. And I found John Wick surprising. It had this brevity of sort of world building, a few lines stood in for a whole lot of stuff going on. The way they reacted to John Wick is this incredible assassin, but they didn't really show you any of that. It's just, the father writing his son off as soon as his son does something wrong. So I came out of that. And then, of course, the martial arts, the long fight scenes that they, usually would cut because, the actor's not, able to go through a 20-beat action set without, a pause. And so I thought it was great. I came out and I was very surprised, which I thought was great. The rest of the movies I really enjoyed. They're always a little less surprising. And I think they suffer from the same thing that superhero movies do, that they have this ratchet effect of we have to do more. So we have to have this magical gun-resistant suit and we have to do things. And I like that they went to different sets and they had, a lot of different types of fights. They had knives and they had axes and they had different kinds of guns. And in Ballerina, they had the flamethrowers. That was fantastic. But none of them were quite as surprising to me as the first one. And I rewatched them all before this, and I'm not sure they stand up well to binging because they get a little bit of the length of the action scenes, I think.
Exhausting.
Comes home a little bit more. And, when you watch one movie after the other, I feel like, maybe that scene should have been shorter and then had a little more story. Maybe this scene was great, but didn't have to be quite that long and we could have had a little more story. But overall, I enjoyed all of them. And I like Ballerina well enough. It wasn't my favorite of the series, but there were things in there to enjoy.
Binging them, you do realize that there is a pretty strict formula at play as well.
Yeah, it gets repetitive. It does.
But it's a really good formula. It's a really good formula that works. And I want to come back to Lawrence's point about characterization, because you're absolutely right. It's not great characterization. These aren't deep characters. And it's not deep mythos or deep lore, but what's really brilliant about these movies is that they develop the characters as much as they need to coherently drive the plot of the story. I really love the tone of the world building because there's this kind of po-facedness about the whole thing which is very funny in a very kind of delightful way, like how seriously everybody has to take this Byzantine bureaucracy of the high table and this weird quasi-spiritual stuff going on. And everyone's kind of talking like they're in a Damon Runyon throwback with like markers, like, guys and dolls stuff. And it's a delight to see Ian McShane basically revisiting his character from Deadwood. The whole thing's just really, really delightful. And they know enough to not take it seriously enough to let it get in the way of any of the action. Like anytime they need to change up a character motivation or a rule of the world or like add something in for the sake of getting to another good action scene, they just merrily throw it in there. And because it's all good fun, it's just really easy to go along with it. That's what I really enjoyed about these movies, is that they were really satisfyingly dumb in exactly the right ways, like dumb enough to be taken very seriously.
Everybody involved knows exactly what the assignment is. And the audience does too. I think if you're there for the right reasons, you're there for the visuals, you're there for that world building. You're not coming there for a deep storyline. You're not there for deep characterization. You're there to see cool fight sequences. You want to see them ratchet these things up at every single turn. And they do. I mean, even in Ballerina, the first hour or so of Ballerina, I thought was a little bit slow, but once she gets going, once she gets into yet another club scene, right? I can't get enough of the actual fights in clubs, by the way. This one just happened to be a club that was made out of ice. And anyway, it's preposterous, and it's supposed to be preposterous. And I really, really appreciated that. I had such a fun time in the movie theater.
I ended up rewatching. I'd watched all 4 binge, and I actually kind of liked it that way, because I felt like some of the individual ones, like I hadn't watched John Wick 4, and I kind of lost interest a little by John Wick 3 when I was seeing them at the time, because it's just like, oh, it's going to be more of the same. But just seeing them in more or less a sequence over a couple days, I don't know. Yes, it's exhausting. And I felt like, am I watching a video game? Am I playing like a really good video game? Like, it would be really hard to be this skilled as a player. But this is, it is that kind of frenetic action of like, that's why I like to play the occasional Halo or something like that, of just that relentless shoot. Like, stop the plot. Get me past the cutscene. I just want to be in that mode. And this is a film that lets you do that. But then for some reason, last night, my daughter, who's home after college, expressed interest in seeing the original John Wick. And so I rewatched it just last night, and she was like, she really liked the man and his dog. Like, what if let's make a new movie that uses that exact footage from the beginning, but then nothing bad happens. And it's just about the boy and his dog. And I was sort of pitching it, this is Up, pretty much, the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
And Keanu Reeves would be great in that movie too.
It'd be Marley and Me. You got to have the dog die. It'd be Marley and Me.
No, the dog does not die. And then you need to have him run across a child as the next thing. The dog is the first step in learning to love.
Yeah. Then he takes a balloon ride.
Guys, it's fun. Like, I really don't know what else to say about this. Like, it's a fun movie. It's not that deep. If you want me to go deep, I could say it's like Buster Keaton-esque, where it's a whole bunch of physical comedy, not much dialogue. There is a skeleton of a story to hang it on, but really what they're interested in is the physical comedy. Like Buster Keaton was interested in physical comedy, like Charlie Chaplin was interested in physical comedy. Like, I could go that deep into it, but it's one of those things where we have not given stunt performers, stunt choreographers enough shine. They're finally going to get that shine with the Academy Awards. Like, the single most important people when it comes to action films is these stunt guys, and they weren't given enough shine. And they said, well, we're going to do our own thing, and we're going to showcase our thing, and we're going to showcase what we can do, and we're going to kind of push the envelope. And so when it comes to filmmaking, these films push the envelope. Like, if you watch action films it's really John Wick 2. Pre-John Wick 2, post-John Wick 2, you can see the influence. of what these guys are doing. You can see it most profoundly in like The Fall Man or something like that, right? But you can see
The Fall Guy?
They are the Fall Guy, Fall Man.
Fall Guy, yeah.
It's a guy, it's a man, he falls. But the point nevertheless is that you can see the influence of what they're doing with John Wick in other films. If you watched Mission Impossible films before John Wick Part 2 and after John Wick Part 2, you can see they're trying to do more interesting hand-to-hand combat kind of stuff. Now, they're not going to the gung fu stuff, but they're trying to incorporate that. So, I mean, we could go deep, but I mean, why? I mean, like, the point is that this is fun. It's a fun film. The Continental, the television show that came on Peacock, I watched all of the television show because I was fascinated by it. It shows that the lore, if you go too deep on it, the lore is not going to stand up. It's just not. If you go too deep on trying to understand the world and whatnot, it's not going to stand up very well. But if you have just a little bit of lore, a dash of personality, and great action sequences, this is what you get. And I think that these films are by far some of my... Ballerina, I have some issues with, but by far, most of them are my favorite action films. I think they're better than Mission Impossible. I will put them up there with like the way that the first Blade film made me feel is how these films kind of make me feel, right? The kind of action and the interesting way that they're doing the action. I love them. But I mean, to go too deep, I mean, I watched the Wick documentary. It's interesting, but I don't know if there's that much there.
Well, let's talk about the setting and the lore, because I thought this was a brilliant, there's probably other examples of like, there's a criminal underworld underneath the normal people, but like, you know, everybody that you see actually could be a hitman and all their phones go off at the same time. Like that was so delightful the first time, like everybody's
it was fun.
Phone goes off.
Yeah. And I love that even the extras in like the clubs or in the subway or something like that just don't seem all that phased that there are people killing each other right in front of them.
Well, in John Wick 4, they didn't even stop dancing. You know,
Right.
when he's confronting the big mob guy to get his ticket reforged or whatever, everybody keeps dancing. I mean, if they like move aside a little bit to let them fight, but they don't even like run in panic. They just keep dancing to the music.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought that's so funny. But it's also, you have these different, you know, James Bond has created its own thing, its own world, right? And I was thinking, what does make John Wick, that universe, special? Because they weren't able to do it in the Continental. There's something missing. It doesn't have that secret sauce or whatever that even Ballerina seems to have. It couldn't replicate it, even though it's coming from the same place. And I'm just wondering, what is it about John Wick that has changed the genre of action movies?
I mean, I think that with the television show, you have to like slow down and explain stuff and spend time in the world. Whereas with movies, they're constantly going. They're going from here, they're going from there, they're going there. Mm-hmm. And with the movie, you can move with a relatively quick pace and kind of just yada yada some stuff that you don't want to kind of explain too much. With the television show, I think the television show was like 10 hours. Like you're spending way too much time in the world and you begin to realize, this kind of doesn't make much sense. But when you're watching a film and it's moving relatively quickly, you just kind of go with it. And I think that was a difference.
It was a 3-part TV show. It's definitely not 10 hours.
It felt 10. It felt fucking 10.
Each part was maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And
okay,
yes, I barely got through. I just watched the end of it this morning because episode 2 was so slow. Like episode 1 I thought was okay. Like, okay, this is intriguing. There's a lot of nice 70s music.
Man.
It's sort of setting up. But then number 2 is all just getting a crew together and trying to get us to care about these dramatic moments with these minor characters. And like, no, I don't care. And then number 3, I expect like, it's really going to go open up. They're going to have the full on. And it was still really slow. Like, yes, there were some fights and things in there, but I see it's not, the same director. It's just like the studio owns the property and made this thing with other people that tried to capture some of the spirit of it, but it really just failed completely. Whereas Ballerina, I see it's also a different director, but I don't know. There was something else happened that made it more consistent. Did anybody read about sort of the progress? Was there
Yeah.
I thought there was something like where the stunts weren't badass enough. And so they kind of came back in and reworked it before release.
Yeah, I read that they brought Chad, what's his name, back in, and
there you go.
did a bunch of reshooting, and I don't know how much, that affected the end product.
That's what I read too, Brian. And I think that might be why that second half of the movie, you really see some really inventive sequences. And I thought, oh, it's got to be the original director who came in to help out a little bit, because it was slow at the beginning, but there were some sequences in that movie that were pretty amazing.
For sure.
And I thought, oh, it's got to be that original director.
Let's see. Yes, Chad Stahelski. I'm not sure,
Right.
completely sure if that's the right pronunciation, but I
I
cannot.
think you did it well. You did it well, I think.
I cannot recommend enough that Wick Is Pain documentary that explains that they were, became a stunt crew looking for movies to do. However, this movie originated with a script that was bought by somebody. So there's a real writer attached to all four of the things. But then once these directors moved in, Chad and his partner and it became just Chad, starting with John Wick 2, but with a whole stunt team that they'd done many movies with. Yeah, they were reworking, and just how much Keanu seemed to have been involved in just pitching individual scenes and working through the script.
Yeah, it was very collaborative.
In terms of Lawrence, you're saying, I don't want to go too deep on it. Well, they went just line by, it's so meticulous, this creation. So I don't know about depth in terms of Tolstoy or something, but depth in terms of let's really tweak this to get the tone exactly right. I really respect these movies much more after that, because I thought, oh yeah, it's stunt guys. They're focusing on what they like, and then they're neglecting other parts. And I don't feel it even after this rewatch of part one. There's just every shot. In fact, in the documentary, he's saying he's trying to overcompensate for we don't want them to see us as just stunt guys. So I'm going to do every shot is from a weird angle and just very stylized approach to color palette and everything.
And they said, too, that when they were reworking that script, that John Wick was actually supposed to be a lot older. And they were looking at Clint Eastwood, I think, of all actors for this part. And I'm really glad they didn't go with Clint Eastwood. That would have been a much different John Wick. But they really just kind of slashed through that movie and cut out so much, and they created a brand new character out of that script. But I think the original writer is credited. And I think that he was also writer for the first 3, wasn't he? At least involved in the script. And then I think he left after the third one, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I tip my hat to them. They really went all in, and they really tried to create a world. And they did a successful job of creating a world. It has a certain look to it. You can know a John Wick film when you're watching it by the color palette, by the sharpness of the resolution, by how they're shooting it, the stylized ways in which they move the camera and position the camera and frame people, and the way that the action scenes, it's kind of hard to explain. The camera is involved in the action scenes in a way that most films, so Mission Impossible, since this is fresh on the mind, McQuarrie he's removed from the action with the camera. So he's watching the action happening, and all this cool stuff is happening on the screen, but the camera's here. Whereas if you watch John Wick closely, the camera is moving with the action. The camera is involved in the action.
Totally.
Those stunt coordinators understand how to frame the stuff that they're trying to do, right? So that's what's different there, that the filmmaking is very unique and is very, very good. And so, yeah, like I said, I tip my cap to the guys for the film and for going as in-depth with it as they do and creating this world. I mean, you're right. They're really, really good. But what are we here for, man? We're here for the action set pieces. That's what we're here for. And that is where the film shines. If the film was just all set up and all the world building and whatnot, the film would fall flat. But it's because of those action set pieces and because of what they're doing that's innovative with the action, that's the reason why we stay. And I think that the films can be repetitive sometimes, right? But what they're doing is so cool. Particularly, I think there's a giant leap between part 3 and part 4. Because when you get to part 4, they're doing unbelievable stuff in that film, right? Just the overhead shot.
Oh my God.
With the dragon breath gun. I don't remember what the game was. That's a game that I played that it reminded me of that, right? They're doing some amazing things. The whole going up the steps, unbelievable. When I heard that the movie's going to be as long as it was, I was oh my God, what are we going to do here? And I was riveted from beginning to end. That's what it's all about. It's all about the action set pieces for me.
Can I just correct? So Derek Kolstad, the writer who came up with the original script, he is listed as a co-writer on John Wick 4 and on Ballerina. He also did, I didn't realize, Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk vehicle, which I thought was a complete John Wick ripoff, but no, it's just the same writer.
Same writer, yeah. Because I can see that. Because it has the feel of that. And I'm looking forward to Nobody Part 2 that's coming out in a couple of weeks. But it has that feel of a John Wick film. In fact, same with you, Mark. I thought that was in the John Wick universe as well.
Who is the guy in Chapter 4? Wasn't he also Nobody?
Yeah, he was the one who was looking originally for a payout to bring John Wick.
He was the one with the dog.
He was the one with the other dog, yeah. Third dog.
Oh, wait a second. Well, okay, wait. No, his dog didn't die. Well, okay, wait a minute. So
No.
But it almost died, and it was John Wick
saved his life.
Right.
Yes.
Which
made him like him. Like
now, that's
John.
great full circle. Great movie making.
Perfectly dumb writing.
Honestly, it kind of is. But wait a minute. So he's in Nobody?
The character is named Nobody.
He refers to himself.
I was a little bit confused because I had been seeing that they want to kind of, I think, combine these two franchises. And I was like, that was before I saw John Wick 4. And then I was like, wait, which Nobody are they talking about?
There's room for many nobodies.
Sure, yes.
I'm playing a video game right now called Nobody Saves the World. That is about a little bald guy that is named Nobody. So there you go. Brian is my longtime game master. I'll re-out myself as that we've played a Pathfinder. It's not D&D, but it's related. For many years. So I thought, Brian, you would have something. Yeah. What do you think about the efficiency of the world building here and the depth of it?
So I thought the first one was brilliantly done. The economy of world building, I thought was spectacular. The way that individual lines, when the cop shows up and he's clearly very nervous, John, are you working again? That sort of genteel conversation. It just spoke volumes about Wick's history and about the world, the cops involved and all of the coins and stuff. I think he looked too deeply at it. Maybe I didn't watch the series, and so maybe that's a problem there. I think it shows its cracks, but I thought the economy of world building in the first one was fantastic. They had sort of a different little hook for each of the movies moving forward. They had a kind of a build of John Wick versus this kind of corruptly all-powerful high table, which honestly, I love John Wick 4. The action pieces in it were great. The overhead shots, the sacre-coeur stairs, all of that. I wish that they had gone differently with the story because I feel like they bailed on John Wick confronting the high table. They didn't have him going through a whole bunch of people. They just had him kill one elder in the desert scene. And then they're like, oh, well, he wants out again, so just do this duel. And I wish that they had trimmed a couple of the action scenes, not cut them out, just made them a little shorter and had 10 or 15 more minutes and have that be a little bit more of a higher stakes confrontation against the organization of the high table. Because at the end, they're all just like, oh, well, I guess we'll all just, live at the whim of the high table again. Winston gets his hotel back, but there's no saying that they can't just deconsecrate it again because apparently they can make up the rules as they go. And, the series kind of sets it up that it keeps pushing forward and Wick keeps killing people because they decide, oh, well, you did this and we didn't like that, so we're going to kill all your friends, or whatever. And it's just, I felt a little let down by the story in number 4 because I was hoping that they were building to something different. I still enjoyed it. And as Lauren said, the action set pieces are what carry these movies forward. And I thought it fulfilled that. But in terms of the world, that's where I was after number 4.
That's really interesting because there was something slightly anticlimactic about the duel. One of the wonderfully economic pieces of character work and world building that the movies do is that John Wick's superpower is always described as the fact that he is just a creature of will and will just stop at nothing to get the job done. So he should be a Green Lantern, basically. He's got this unstoppable force of will.
Deep cut, Al. I appreciate it.
We're just warming up for Superman.
Superman coming soon.
The bit of the finale that really expresses that superpower is the action set piece just before the duel where he has to get to the duel in time and they're throwing the whole all of the hordes of the high table at him and he's got to just get through. What I was kind of expecting to happen and what I think might have been more fun is if the movie had just ended with him getting there exactly on time and then just shooting whoever he needed to shoot in the head, because it felt like that was the will-based achievement. The weird, like, trickster stuff that happens in the duel didn't feel very John Wicky. Didn't feel like a John Wick way to win the day.
Well, and again, the whole thing that, okay, they set up the whole movie is setting up this duel, and, there's all these rules, and they set up the time and the place with this fancy, debate with, flipping over the tiles and who gets to decide. And then they're like, oh, except the guy, the Marquis, can just do whatever he wants and send a whole city after John Wick to try to kill him before the duel. And so again, it's this, well, the high table's just going to make up what they want to do. And so having him then go through the duel at the end, yeah, it would have been more satisfying, even if they didn't like raise the stakes and go after more of the high table, which is what I really wanted.
Yeah.
He had gotten to the top of Sakakura and just shot the guy. That would have been more John Wickian than going through the duel. But, the movie decided, no, well, we're going to set him free, and we're going to set Kane free, and we're going to let the high table be. And I don't know. I wanted a higher stakes confrontation more than I wanted more minutes of people getting shot, but not really shot.
One of the things, at least, that the people who wrote the TV show were properly trying to pull at is like, what is the relationship to the police? So one of the main characters in the TV show is like a cop who's not corrupt and who's not in on, is not friends with everybody here. Granted, it's the 70s, so maybe it's before everything got all corrupt in that way. But still, there was like everybody in the force knows that you're not supposed to approach the hotel. You're not supposed, there are people that are just off limits. And so, yeah, I think there's it's an obvious opening to have a character that the audience can actually root for to try to get into this. And so I think that's still an area of the franchise that is still kind of unexplored now that we're going to have some post John Wick films, because clearly this is going to continue in one form or another, that we already know that there's a film about the martial artist character.
Oh, Kane? Cool.
Yeah, they're making a Kane movie.
Is it going to be Donnie Yen, so like happening after John Wick 4, or is it going to be like a younger, like how he lost his eyesight or something like that? Do we know?
Oh, just bringing the same guy.
Yeah, I don't know the details. I know Donnie Yen's directing it, but I don't know the details of it though.
Is Halle Berry coming back? I want to see her again in this universe. I just love that character so much. Her giving him the water bottle after she's drank all of it and then spit it back out. I just thought, oh my God, we need to see more of you in this world.
Yeah, I didn't see the TV show, so I hesitate to cast any kind of shade on it, but it really seems like they just did a bad job, because there is plenty of good storytelling left in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is good storytelling. However, behind the scenes of that production, they didn't have that much money.
Yeah.
They didn't have great stunt choreographers to work on the show either. And so they were just trying to make like a kind of dramatic television show that explores the world, which can work, but you got to have some really good action in there. And they just didn't have the action. I think you're right, Al. I think they just kind of failed on that TV show. And even though it was only 3 episodes, like Mark says, it felt like it was 10 freaking hours watching that damn thing. It really, really dragged. Like the conversation makes that show look like, I don't know, like the conversation's like action packed, compared to that show. It is so incredibly slow, that show is.
Except the conversation is actually good.
Talk about the force of will of John Wick, but something else in the like the force of will of the people who made the John Wick movies, like Keanu Reeves, as well as like the bankability of Keanu Reeves, like having him involved obviously gives you a lot of freedom to make an action film with a lot of care and attention. But clearly everybody involved in the making of those first few films put a huge amount of blood, sweat and tears into bringing it to life. So it's not surprising that if you've got another crew that they can't quite deliver.
Well, and it's not just the crew, right? Because, Keanu Reeves trained like a madman to be able to shoot things. And the documentary goes into this a little bit. When they were filming, they would change the fight choreography on the day of filming, which is something they could only do because Reeves and his other stunt people that were doing the fight had worked for hours and hours and hours together, so they knew how each other moved. As Reeves would say, they all know how slow I am. But so they could say, well, let's do this instead. And they would react to things, and it was a much more organic creation of the final end product. And I just don't think there are a lot of actors that can put in that amount of work in terms of, it's movie fighting, but it's still,
It's grueling. It's grueling.
I mean, he was beating his body up, and then with the gun stuff, he was training for hours. You can see shots of him on YouTube at the gun range, and he's rapid firing and rapid reloading, real guns for real. And, I think that comes across, and that's got to be part of the success of the Wick series, is they're able to film him in a way that I don't think they can film just every actor.
Even for another actor who can do the physical stuff, and there aren't that many, I can't really think of anyone who can do the physical stuff and still be putting in a really good character performance at the same time.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. He's just so charismatic. You can't take your eyes off of him. And then he has the skills to back that up. It does seem like it's just kind of a 1 in a million shot here for these movies to be the way that they are, because you take out, even in Ballerina, and I thought Ana de Armas did a great job in that, but as soon as Keanu Reeves is on screen, my eye goes to him, and Ana de Armas is absolutely charismatic and very charming in her own way, but there's just something about Keanu Reeves that your eye just immediately goes to him. Whatever he's doing on screen is going to be interesting.
I mean, we need to just give the guy his flowers. So we talked about Tom Cruise, but Keanu Reeves, Point Break, Speed, Constantine, The Matrix. This guy is an incredible action filmmaker. And he doesn't come off, at least in how I read him, as self-involved as Tom Cruise is, as kind of, dictatorial as Tom Cruise is. You got to be this way, whatever. Keanu Reeves is a guy who just kind of goes into an action film. He does his job. Once he's done with his job, sometimes he comes back for the sequel, sometimes he moves on, but he's just an amazing action star. And he's also a very good actor. If you watch some of his other films where he's actually acting, he's trying to act, he's quite a good actor. Walk in the Clouds remains one of my favorite films of all time because he's doing some great acting in that film. So it's just Keanu Reeves is just an amazing actor. And these films absolutely would not work without him. And it is not at all surprising that they brought him in for Ballerina, because he kind of needed to be there to kind of connect the films, but also his presence is such a big deal in these films. He is the engine that makes these films go.
I feel like he does have a little bit of a Nicolas Cage. Is he a good actor or not? I still hear the Bill and Ted thing through most of what he says, and it's okay. I'm on his side. I will watch him in things, but he definitely needs a good script and he needs a good director. He needs
to be used properly, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, doesn't everybody need a good script and a good director, though?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what you need for, there's plenty of films made by great actors with bad scripts and bad directors that fail. You need a good script and a good director.
He maybe doesn't have, the greatest range of any, Hollywood star, but he picks his projects really well, and he does have range in that he does comedy really well, does drama really well, and obviously he's a great action star, and that's really rare. And yeah, even when the movies that he's in, ultimately aren't great. I love Constantine for various reasons, but that movie isn't a home run. But I love Keanu Reeves in it, and I love him for doing it.
And also an underappreciated part of what he does is he does really good voice work. He's in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. He's in SpongeBob, Sponge on the Run. I'm telling you guys, this guy he's doing some interesting stuff.
What was fun in the documentary is listening to him talk with the director and having them talk about the John Wick series. And they both just seem to have such good chemistry with each other. They seem to be having a really good time making these movies. And it really shows on the screen. And I think for Keanu Reeves, the projects for him that work really well, it's not just having the right director, the right, and a good script. It's the right script. He's got to have the right material for somebody like him, because I agree, he's not great in every single thing that I've seen him in, but the movies that really, really pop for him, and there are many, many, many movies of his that really pop and make a difference in our culture, are because of that chemistry that he has with the right director and the right script for his talents.
He's also in Toy Story 4. He's also in really good animated films, man. I'm like DC League of Super Pets. I'm telling you guys, this guy is
he's got
pretty
range.
Impressive. He's got range, man.
Did you like Knock Knock?
Okay, that one I didn't like. I didn't like that one.
That was like the same time as John Wick.
That's the Eli Roth thing, though. I don't like that.
Hey, it's Ana de Armas, too.
She's in that, too. She does do some sexually weird stuff in that film.
But putting him as, next to Willem Dafoe or somebody who's like just inarguably like Oscar-winning brilliance.
Yeah.
It's they're not on the same plane. So,
but they do play really well.
They play
against
well
each
together.
other, like in
Yeah,
that
well
first
together,
movie,
man.
because something Keanu Reeves has figured out how to do, and I don't know when he figured out how to do this because it is not there in Bill and Ted at all. But he can stand still and just hold gravity in a scene in a way which is just brilliant in a movie like this, because you've got a lot, and then someone like Willem Dafoe can bounce off the walls opposite him, and it creates this really great dynamic. It works through all of these John Wick movies as well, because you've got all of these larger than life, like Ian McShane, whatever, the cartoon gangster characters. And Keanu Reeves, he's often not doing much in these scenes, but he cannot do much with an awful lot of
gravitas,
weight, and charisma. Yeah, and gravitas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I read somewhere, I don't know if it was just the internet trying to make fun of me, but that Reeves had told someone, it was either the first or second movie, that he was going to charge more for every line that his character had to say because he thought that John Wick should be still and silent. And so, that's why one of the reasons he speaks so little is because it was going to cost more. Or that was, maybe it was a funny joke between him and the people developing the scripts and stuff like that. But as you were saying, one of the things that he does in John Wick is he's just this force of will. He's not a chatterbox. He's not convincing people of things with a long monologue. He's holding space. And, I think he does that well.
It speaks to a really kind of generous professionalism as well, just to say more things about Keanu Reeves. Like, he's a huge movie star and he's happy to just be the straight man to Willem Dafoe's like insanity or Ian McShane's otherworldly coolness or whatever.
And I think that a third reason why I really love these films is actually Lance Reddick.
Oh, yeah.
This is his last film.
Aww.
Because Lance Reddick, he provides something too. Like, Ian McShane is this weird gangster kind of person. And you have Keanu Reeves, who's kind of like the center of the story. But Lance Reddick, he's just doing something interesting in all these films. And I think it's part 3, maybe it's part 4, where he gets to kind of do some action and stuff, where he gets to get a gun and kind of shoot some people. But what he's bringing to the films, and really what he has brought to film and to television, because honestly, his favorite character of mine is from The Wire, but Lance Reddick just brings like a great stillness and a professionalism and a weird accent. I don't know what accent he has, but he's bringing that to this film. And I think that that's a kind of a third important, crucial piece for why these films work so well. It's just like, it's the tapestry of the characters. It's almost like an ensemble piece in a way.
Brian and I were wondering at the time whether his few scenes in Ballerina were actually new footage. And I see the internet is telling me, yes, he did shoot some new footage, but it was almost all like, would you like a room? Would you like, they could have just taken outtakes from the previous films.
They could have, yeah.
You, Ana de Armas, he's not. I think everybody's shown to pretty good effect. John Leguizamo, I would have liked to see more of him.
Oh, yeah, please.
He's someone who annoys me in some of his other stuff, but I like this character plenty. Not enough US-based car stuff in the later movies, I guess, to bother including him. But I am a little intrigued by the world. Nobody's mentioned Batman villains is what a lot of these bad guys reminded me of.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that.
Bill Skarsgård's character.
Just over the top evil.
In the Continental Show, the best characters were the twins hitmen, a guy and a woman, and they have these terrible bangs. That's sort of their thing. And they completely look like Dick Tracy or Batman characters. And just, throughout, like, it's the violin playing hitman, and the just everybody seems to have some little shtick.
Wait, so I was wondering about that. It does seem like a lot of the hit people have day jobs. And I was just wondering, is it for real a day job? Are you really like a sushi chef and also a hitman? Is that a gig? Or like, I want to know what their relationship is to their work. Or that's a half serious question.
They only get paid in that like Ian McShane Disneyland money, where it doesn't actually have any cash value. All of the hitmen jobs are just done for being able to stay at the Continental.
I guarantee you it has some kind of cash value.
He had a really nice house.
It looks like gold. It looks like gold to me.
Gold
Yeah,
coins.
it looks like gold.
He's just running a Ponzi scheme. It's a meme coin.
And because they aged the main John Wick character down, like the whole thing, his getting married and having this whole relationship, like is all in 5 years. Like I could see it being a little more emotionally effective if it was like a 15-year period, you know, that I'm getting pulled back into the life that you were in, you know, not that long ago.
I don't like what you're saying, Mark. I don't like. Are you trying to shit on people's relationship? It's got like the marriage has to be longer in order for it to have weight. Is that what you're saying?
They did a very good job in the first film of saying that it wasn't necessarily about the wife at all. It was about the fact that he thought he was going to be okay, and then they just took it all. They just took it. I thought for a minute he was going to be okay, and they took it all away from him. It's very interesting to be the guy who watches John Wick and says, I don't think that was justified. You're only married for 5 years.
But on his tombstone, it does say devoted husband.
Clearly.
Just saying.
I mean, he might be the only man in history who can legitimately.
No, there's John Wick 5. There's no way he's dead.
I mean, but like he's dead.
It could be interstitial somehow.
What are they gonna do?
Even though the 4 movies seem continuous, they moved his character's work in Ballerina. Like, that was in the middle of 2. You know, when he, got back with his family.
As after 3.
Oh, okay. All right. So when he hooked back up with his family, they had him do some work. So you could come up with more stuff like that. I mean, it's just that the stakes are going to be lower for that character by necessity. Oh, by the way, he killed the whole high table between 3 and 4. You didn't know that. No, you can't do that.
I'm kind of worried if they do something like that, they're going to run into the Fast and Furious problem of the weird timelines and all that kind of stuff. I'm really worried about that. Because what makes these films really good is the urgency and the stakes. You start playing with that, it kind of gets a little muddy for me.
Diminishing returns. I'll go see it.
Oh, so you're going to go now?
I will go. And actually, I want to see this.
Happy.
I want to see John Wick 5 in the movie theater. It was really fun to see Ballerina.
Well, welcome. Al, are you going to watch it in the movie theater? Are you going to come now? Are you in the family?
I'll watch it. I don't know. I like it. I think I like the first one the best. And I don't know if I'm going to revisit the whole franchise. Maybe one day I'll revisit the whole franchise again. But I think that first movie is a really beautiful standalone for me.
The first movie is by far my least favorite. By far my
What's your favorite, Lawrence? What's your favorite one?
Probably 2, because 2 is where they kind of expand the world and kind of go a little bit better in the action. The first one feels very small to me. It just really
I
does.
like that though.
Very small, very contained. I don't like that. What about you, Mark? What's your favorite?
I feel like seeing it in this way, it seemed like a continuous thing. It seemed like it is chapters, chapter 1, chapter 2.
Answer.
If I have to pick one,
go.
I will say the first one. Yes. I think there was something perfect.
Because Dylan's saying the same thing. Dylan said the first one's his favorite. You guys like small indie
Dylan
films.
is not with us today. It's Brian.
Oh, Brian. I'm sorry, not Dylan. I'm sorry. Hi, Dylan. I hope you're listening. Brian.
Yes. Oh, we need the Ms. Perkins, Adrian Palicki backstory. We need the.
Oh God.
What other? Once we open things up. You scolded me about Lawrence about my mentioning Donnie Yen as not being necessary in Andor, and maybe I stand by that, but I didn't realize actually that it was the same person in the Ip Man movies. Like I didn't register Donnie Yen as a distinct actor, so now
Donnie Yen, he is huge,
very cleared up,
yeah.
and I will see several of more of his movies.
Wonderful. Happy to hear it. Because no, Donnie Yen is a huge actor. Like he's not as big in the United States, although he's gotten pretty big now. But he is a huge actor.
Jackie Chan, or yeah.
Okay. I thought you were saying he was Jackie Chan. Anyway,
no.
But he's a huge actor overseas, like a huge guy. So yeah, I'm very excited.
We did not talk about Lawrence Fishburne as the Bowery King.
Oh.
Like, come on. Like.
Yeah.
I would like to see a movie about him. I love Lawrence Fishburne.
I'm good. I don't need a movie about like homeless assassins.
Oh my
great.
God, I thought that was so fun. And the pigeons? Come on.
Well, and that was
Sure.
a thing that they tried to pick up on in the Continental of like, here's the backstory. The homeless have always been some kind of offshoot of organized crime.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm great. Lawrence Fishburne, loved him, loved his performance.
I love him.
All that's going on with that guy, I don't like it. I don't understand it. It's weird. Not my thing.
I love him and his overacting. It's delicious.
Was it Jason Mantzoukas as one
Yes,
of the
he
homeless, the main homeless guy? And one of the things, like
Yes.
I think when you can put in comic actors in this kind of thing and like it fits,
I know.
I think that's wonderful. So,
Yeah, it was great.
all right. Any last thoughts? Go see the film.
Go see it. Go see Ballerina. Ballerina is a lot of fun.
I mean, we had some minor spoilers here, but who cares? Obviously, it's an action film.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna. There's not like a great.
Well, at this point, everybody's got to know John Wick kills a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And that's true in all of the movies, and he kind of spoils them all. I mean,
Does he ever kill anyone with a pencil in the actual?
Oh yeah.
yes,
Oh,
he
yeah.
does. That's the great callback in number 2. Is he kills 2 people with a pencil.
Only 2 though. Only 2. He should have beat his record.
There were fun little callbacks like that in number 3. There's a little Matrix callback when he's like, "Well, what are you going to need?" He's like, "Guns, lots of guns," which was of course from the Matrix. I was amused by that. little bits like that are fun all the way through.
I'm going to zag a little bit. I think Ballerina, you can wait for it to come home. I don't think that's a go to the movie and watch
I
it.
don't think the flamethrower scene would play the same way on a TV as it does on
That
the
was
big
so
screen.
fun.
But is it worth it for
Yes.
that one scene?
No,
It isn't.
and the
Oh,
whole
sure.
town that's full of assassins. That was so fun.
Watch it at home.
Oh,
I mean, that's a
No.
fun thing with the lore to imagine that there's these whole.
I just love it. Did you notice that in the school room had a bunch of targets set up?
Yeah. The camera like pulled back, and so it was like a little reveal, right? There's the kids, and it pulls back, and then it's got all these mannequins with targets on their heads.
I mean, but the vast majority of people are going to watch it at home anyway because they definitely didn't go to the movie to watch it.
I know, it's a bummer.
Well, but that's not true, though.
How's it doing?
I was just looking at the box office, and $100 million like the other movies.
Has it gone up? Because the last time I checked, it was not doing well at all.
I think they're planning a sequel.
So the budget was $90 million and it made $110 million. That's not a great return.
It's early days.
so far, but
So far. So what are you talking about
I
so
don't know
far?
how these
Jurassic
things
World
work.
is out now. No, trust me. If they don't make their money in the first 2 weeks, they're not making much more money. Like maybe the at-home returns will be pretty good. But as far as the movie theatrical, it's a failure. Like they've talked about it. It's a failure.
I mean, it's a branding issue that they don't have like, okay, the Wizarding World. It's not Harry Potter in there. You just have the, so what is the world? The Batman villainish crime world. Like there's no, the sort of steampunk, but not really crime world. Like we need a better branding for what the generic place is before we can get away from John Wick completely.
I agree.
The Wiki Wild Wild West.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, listeners.
Bye-bye.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Pretty Much Pop is part of the Partially Examined Life podcast network. Get more Pretty Much Pop at prettymuchpop.com. Get bonus content for every episode at patreon.com/prettymuchpop.